Hello, everyone. Going live to talk higher self hypnosis and past life regression. So, just getting started talking about higher self hypnosis and past life regression. I'm going to start by sharing a story from something that happened in a session today. Let me find it. Hello, everyone. Ask me any questions you have about past life regression, higher self hypnosis, or life in between lives hypnosis, because I do take people up to look at when they die in a past life, what do they do in between lives? It's pretty cool. Not everyone is the same. There's a lot of similarities in many sessions. A lot of times people will describe that they're going up in the stars, and they'll describe the stars. And a lot of people tell me that, hello, Roxy. A lot of people tell me that when they go up and see the stars, I ask them, so are they really stars, or are they other beings or light beings like you that just look like stars? So if someone were to see you from a distance, would they think that you look like a star too? And a lot of times people say yes, that they're actually other light beings. So look at this cool button I bought today. I don't know if it's backwards when it goes on here, but it's called Hell No. I bought it.
Survey says hell no.
So I bought it
Hell no.
because
Hell no. Hell no.
I bought this button to help me not unconsciously grab junk food from my pantry. And so I've been really being more conscious lately about what I'm eating, especially when I finish an all-day session. I get super like, oh, I just want to release. So I get it why people smoke and they want that like release and that stress relief. So it's like I just want some release. And so I always go to my pantry I always go to my pantry to grab something junky. Even if it's just like a granola bar, which is not like the best thing. And I want to drop weight. And so I just started telling myself the other day, I'm on day 4 now, doing really, really well, where when I go to grab something, I was just like unconscious about it, just going to grab something. And I was like, woke myself out of that like zombie state and went, oh, hell no, not going to do that. So I bought this button.
No.
So I'm going to carry this button with me and put it right by the snack pantry. And so every time I try to go in the snack pantry at my house that I have for my kids, I'm going to hit this hell no button. Not going to do that. Hell no, not going to eat something that's going to help me gain weight. Okay. Selah, the session I had with you is amazing, literally life-changing. Awesome. Yes, they totally are. Totally are. I got an email today from someone, and I don't want to give her identity away. Obviously, I'm not going to. But she was telling me about all of the incredible changes 1 month later that she saw in her life, that she didn't necessarily see them from a higher self hypnosis session. So that's when you channel your higher self. She didn't necessarily see like massive changes like the day of or the day after, although everybody says, oh my gosh, I feel so much lighter. That's what everyone says after they have a session with me. But she wrote down how she has so much peace because she was married to a narcissist. And of course, when you leave a narcissist, especially if you have a kid with them, they never leave you alone. And their whole goal is to make your life hell and criticize you and drag you through court and financially bankrupt you. And it's just their modus operandi is to just make your life as miserable as possible. So we talked about not giving him her energy, and then her higher self gave her a lot of different ideas to do to kind of lessen the stress on her and bring more peace to her life. And she said 1 month later after her session, she said, oh my gosh, like I used to just like freeze when I would get his emails and text messages about this or that. And he's claiming I owe him, which I totally don't. But she said she normally would be so stressed and so worked up, and she's got just so much peace now. She said it's just blowing her away at how much peace she has since she did her higher self hypnosis session. So that was huge for her. That was really huge. Let me see. What kind of schooling do you need to be a hypnotherapist? It depends on what you want to do, like what kind of hypnotherapy. Honestly, you don't need it. you need some education, but you don't need like formal schooling. I have a mentor program I am just launching right now. So I've got my launch pricing going on, which it still costs you money. But I do have a financing program that I've also linked up with. So you can finance I'll call it the tuition for my program, which I will teach you absolutely everything that I know. I'm literally going to be brain dumping for an hour and a half every week for 6 months, and then monitoring your work and being available for support for another 6 months after that. And we are going to do everything. We are going to do practice sessions. I'm going to teach you about voice inflection. We're going to go over the script that you'll use. You'll eventually memorize it because you'll say it so many times. We're going to talk about pricing your sessions. Everything that you could possibly know. The biggest things about doing higher self hypnosis, the way I do it, is learning how to channel your higher self to talk to the client's higher self. So really, my sessions are higher self to higher self because I don't know where the next question is coming from. It just comes out of my mouth. And if I ever find myself stopping for a second and just thinking, trying to use my human brain to do my session, it's like I just kind of go, I don't really know I'm just kind of like stumped. So it truly is learning how to channel your higher self the entire time, because then the questions just flow, because you really have to be thinking on your feet as you do these sessions, because you don't know what the client's higher self is going to say. You ask a question like, is she holding a trapped emotion of rejection in her body? Well, it could be yes, it could be no. Okay, where is she holding it? Oh, she's holding it in her stomach. Okay, what's the root cause of it? You don't have a million pre-planned questions for every single answer a higher self can give. So it's really just depending and relying and knowing how to channel your higher self, which is you. Higher self is not something outside of you, everyone. It's your higher self is the real you. The fake you is the you that you're looking at when you look in the mirror. Like, that's the fake you, the you that thinks you're the body, the you that thinks that you're the personality, the you that thinks you're the computer programmer or whatever it is, or the nurse or the therapist. That's the fake you. The real you is your higher self. That's your soul self. That's the real you. And so that is the you that you're tapping into when you do these sessions. So we're going to work on that in my mentoring program. And so if you want to learn more about my mentoring program and not everything we're going to learn, but highlights of what we're going to learn, you can actually visit my website, wokelightworker.com. And then there's a tab a menu drop down, and it says training. I think it says courses and training. And I have a big, long outline of kind of what we're going to go over, but it's also going to cover the business side of things, because you cannot have this business. This is something my spirit team taught me quick, hard, and fast, is you cannot have this business be successful for you to not have to go to a regular job every day. Because if you're in a regular job every day, it's hard to do sessions, obviously, because these are all day sessions. But you have to have the business side support you financially. It's a business. It's love and it's light and it's helping people, but it's also a business a lot of people think, well, you're a spiritual healer, you shouldn't charge anything. Well, then doctors shouldn't charge anything either. And therapists shouldn't charge anything either, because they're helping people. Oh, thank you so much for the roses. Mercurial. Thank you. Oh my gosh, 6 roses. Thank you. That's on TikTok. So it's insane and it's ridiculous. And it's kind of annoying, actually, for me to think that people have the stigma that just because you're a spiritual healer does not mean you should pay your bills. You should go work a full-time job somewhere, and then in your evenings and weekends, give up your evenings and weekends for me so I can be healed. And don't charge anything. Work for free. That's the most ridiculous thing ever. If I'm going to have any free time, and if you're going to have any free time that you're not being paid for giving to other people, you should be using that for yourself. You could be going to the gym. You could be spending time in nature, connecting with creator and nature. But no, you're giving your time, you're giving your talents. Your time and your energy are the most valuable things that you have. You first and foremost need to use them on yourself. Secondly, you use them on other people. Well, if you instead use your time and talent, instead of giving it to some corporate company, and you use it for other people, then absolutely you should be compensated for that. It's a job like every other job. It's a job like a doctor. Doctors are very well paid. Therapists make really good money when you get going in your practice, right? Lawyers make really good money. They're helping people when they get in binds, right? When they get in a lot of trouble or they're fighting with someone, arguing with someone. We're helping people completely transform their lives when we're a healer. So to think that that is not worth compensation, that that's not worth an equal energy exchange, that we should just constantly be giving, giving, giving is insane. That's just insane. So there's my rant. That was free. So anyway, in my mentoring program, not only will I teach you all about doing higher self hypnosis, every single thing I know, total brain dump, which I will tell you 50% of everything I do in my sessions was learned. Hi, Sue, and hi, Angie. How are you? Was learned from my spirit team. It literally was not like I started out with QHHT, guys. What I do, what I teach is nothing like QHHT anymore. It's got the shell of QHHT, Dolores Cannon's method, but that's it. All the guts in it, other than maybe a couple questions I took from my QHHT level 1 and level 2 training. Other than that, everything else is mine. My spirit team guided me, led me to completely incorporate a bunch of different healing modalities, plus a lot of stuff they have taught me, and just make it like going to a buffet, and you grab a little bit of this, grab a little bit of that, grab a little bit of this. And every single time, hi, Aurea, every single time I do these, I kid you not, my sessions change every single time. They literally get better. So right now, when I do my higher self hypnosis sessions, it's not even remotely the same session that I did 6 months ago. I look at those and go, oh, wow, I have changed so much in my sessions every single time I do them. So that's going to be part of the mentoring program too, is we're going to get together every single week in my mentoring program and talk about all the new things that I'm learning. Because like I said, my spirit team teaches me something new every single session, and I do sessions every day. So I'm going to be sharing all that with all my students, and we're going to learn the business side of things. Because like I said, you cannot have the business side die and falter and think you're going to still be able to go out there and work 8 hours a day doing sessions for someone, because my higher self hypnosis sessions are all day long. So in the morning we get together, we do like a 2.5, usually 3, sometimes 3.5 hour intake where I'm getting to learn everything about my client, every single thing that happened in their life that was of significance, any traumas, digging into where they might have trapped emotions. And my specialty, and I'm going to teach everyone in my mentoring program, my specialty is really learning how to dig at the root cause. So some people, Angie, my mentorship program is going to start, I'm guessing probably around in March sometime. So I don't have a firm date yet, because the prerequisite is you have to do 3 theta healing classes, which is the first 3 levels. It's called basic DNA, advanced DNA, and dig deeper. And I'm actually starting this Saturday, guys. So in 2 days, because today is January 12, 2023. In 2 days, I start training to become a certified instructor for those the first 4 levels, but for those first 3 levels. So you guys can do theta healing with me. You can do it with anyone, but you can do it with me. And then we'll jump in and do the hypnosis training, mentoring, either at the same time it's going on or right after that. But so again, you got to learn how. We're going to talk about bookkeeping. We're going to talk about social media, like everything on the business side, guys. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands, probably thousands of hours that I've spent setting up everything in my systems and all this stuff, and sharing all that with you guys to save you literally all that time. So, and then for theta healing, I've taken a lot of theta healing, and I do that inside my session. So I'm going to teach you guys, once you have your first 3 levels of theta healing, which has to be separate from my hypnosis program, because theta healing is theta healing, and I'm not allowed to mix them or teach them like at the same time, meaning push them all together. They have to be taught in a particular way. I had to sign contracts on how I teach it and everything. I had to sign contracts on how much I can charge for it, that I'm not allowed to give discounts on it, like all that kind of stuff. Theta healing is super strict. And that's to keep up the integrity of it. Totally understand that. You don't want it being cheapened, because there's a lot of people out there, healers, again, giving away services all the time. And then you're left just feeling drained and exhausted, working a job all day because you have to make a living somehow. So then healers think it's okay to go out and work a job, work at a company all day, 8 to 10 hours a day, and then come home and try to do another 2, 3, 4, 5 hours of healing work for someone else for free, because that's what healers should do, right? No. So you have to have the business side of your business supporting your spiritual work so that you can be available energetically and physically available. Because if I wasn't doing this full time, I'm telling you right now, I would never go back to working a full-time job and then doing healing work in the evenings. So if my business side falls or fails, that's it. I'm done. I'm done being a healer. And that's not part of my path, and that's not part of my purpose. And no one should have to work, 14, 15, 16 hours a day to work for free. Hi, Husky Kimberly. Thank you for the rose. No one should have to sit there and work for free for anyone else. Because again, here's my soapbox again. No other profession does that. Okay. There's volunteer work. Go volunteer. That's fine. But to give your services away is completely cheapening them. And the other person you're not having an equal exchange of energy at all. And you're just depleting yourself. Again, your time and your energy are your most valuable resources that you have. So you got to be careful on how you use them. It's always you first. Always you first. Higher self say this all the time in my sessions. Use your energy on yourself first and foremost. So let's see. Yeah, Aurea, I actually have you on my list to email my website. We just put it up yesterday, the mentoring program. So if you guys want to find out about my mentoring program, go to wokelightworker.com, click on the tab that says courses and training. And it has an general outline of what I'm going to be teaching everyone. But literally, again, it's a complete brain dump of everything and everything new that I learned. And then here's the part I'm super excited about. After the 1 year of the program is done, after the 1 year, I want to create a community where everyone who's been a student, and it'll be just ongoing, we get together like once a month, maybe once every other month. We can kind of see how it goes, but it'll be like almost like an association type thing where we get together and we brainstorm and we mastermind and we share ideas and we say, oh my gosh, this is what I've been doing in my sessions. This is so amazing. Or here's this new thing I tried. Or maybe we'll bring in like somebody who's an expert on a new software that could like totally transform the business side of things. But it'll be like a continual learning thing, almost like a continuing education. But I see it being like a really huge source of support and training. And it's going to be for everyone who does my program. It's going to be, I want to keep doing this indefinitely. Maybe someday someone else takes it over and kind of runs it. I don't know. It doesn't really matter, but just having that source of support and that whole training system, I think would be amazing, because I don't know of anything out there like that now. So, if you work, you should get paid, said Bill. Yeah, thank you. So let me see what else. So I hope that answers your question that someone had earlier about what kind of training do you need. So, and I will tell you guys that you can make good money doing this. We can go into it. If anyone's interested in the mentorship program, go to my website, wokelightworker.com, click on the tab that says courses and training, go to my mentorship tab. You'll schedule a 30-minute consultation call with me where I'll go into more details about it. I'll talk about the price of the program. I'm not going to put it out here on social media. It's not free. It's definitely not free, guys. I am going to be giving you years worth of information and knowledge and tons of my time, an hour and a half a week for 6 months. Okay. That is worth a lot of money. And I could be doing sessions and making more money than I would in training one person. So way more money. So this is not a huge money-making venture for me. It's going to help me hopefully free up some of my time so that I can focus more on writing books, because I have a number of books that my spirit team wants me to be writing. The first one about past lives and how they truly, truly do impact us in the here and now in so many ways. And I want to be doing fewer and fewer sessions, maybe only one a week coming up in the future. So I really want to get people trained in my modality and the way I do it, not the way anyone else does it, because I happen to think it's pretty amazing. Again, half of what I do in my sessions was literally given to me and taught to me by my spirit team, and many, 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 many hours of training and experience in putting those methods into place. And I spend about, 10 to $15,000 to $20,000 a year in my continuing education. Guys, that's a lot of money. And everything I've learned, everything that's relevant and that I've incorporated into my practice, I'm going to be teaching the people that I mentor. So that's huge. In addition to all the massive amount of business coaching that I've received and the thousands of dollars I've spent and continue to spend on business coaching. So anyway, let's see. I've always wanted to do this, but I'm not sure if I could make a living of it eventually. Well, if you're not sure if you could, then you'd have to change your mindset. So we're going to work on mindset in there too, because I'm telling you, you can make a living on it, out of it. As long as you don't cheapen your services, and as long as you don't undercut yourself by going, oh, let me just give this away really, really cheap, and you're not doing an equal exchange of energy with your client, you can absolutely. So I will tell you that charging less than half of what I charge now, you can make 6 figures in this business working full time. So I'm just saying it's not, and that's not charging a lot for sessions. So it's just being consistent. But you have to get yourself out there. You have to put yourself on social media. We're going to talk about all that in my mentorship program. And again, there is financing for it. So you guys, if you qualify, you can get financing in the US and Canada. It's not available overseas, unfortunately, this financing company that I have. So you can look for financing in your own country if you're not in the US or Canada. But it will give you up to 60 months to pay it back. So the idea is to get the business to pay the entire cost for you. So you can actually take a loan out for more than the cost of the program and use, let's say it takes you 6 months. It's going to take you anywhere between 4 and 6 months before you're up and running and doing sessions. So let's say on the longer end, 6 months, because you work another job and you just don't have as much time to dedicate full time to learning this and doing this. But if you've already had like QHHT, or if you've already taken some theta healing classes, anything like that, or already done some practice sessions, oh my gosh, you could probably be up and running in 3 months, 4 months, right? But the idea would be, if you qualified for enough, you could take out more than the cost of the program to take that extra money that you take to make your loan payment over the next 6 months while you're training. So there's no money out of your pocket. And then once you start doing sessions, it'll take you maybe 2 sessions a month, max 1 or 2, to pay off your loan. And if you want to pay it off early, then throw more session money at it and just get that thing paid off and save all that interest. So it's actually a really cool program. And I'm so thankful to Instagram for that popping up on my feed exactly when I needed it to pop up, when I was designing and developing this mentorship training program. So there is financing that you can get. And you can actually even get the financing for my sessions too. So, and you can pay that off over, I think if it's a smaller amount, it's like 24 months, but you can even pay it off over 24 months. So the financing is awesome. So, and then I give a little discount if you pay it all cash up front, because the financing program costs me a pretty penny. For you to get financing costs me a pretty penny. So it's just all business stuff. So anyway, let me see what anyone else is saying. I want psychic surgery really bad. Stormy said, psychic surgery is amazing. there's so much that happens in one session. Sometimes it's hard to fit it all in. So a lot of times what we have to do is break up because we want to do all the hard healing work first. Angie, I saw you schedule an appointment for my mentoring program consultation call. Yes. Um, so because in the first session that you do, you really want to get at, just imagine that your life is a garden. If you want to do a higher self hypnosis session with me, they're super intense, like healing. So imagine your life is a garden and you've got all these weeds in there. Nothing's a weed, obviously, because everything's just an experience. But let's say that you want to pull all the weeds, all the trapped emotions, the traumas. So I had a woman recently who had been, um, she said rape, and then she was like, well, it was rape and it was non-consensual sex because she was so intoxicated and they really took advantage of her. And this was a several different men who did this. And so she wanted healing and the trauma pulled from that, the shock and trauma from that, and any trapped emotions that she had in her body. So it's things like that. And I didn't feel heard when I was growing up. I really have this feeling of being unsafe and unprotected, and all these things that you would consider like the base, because if we don't pull those weeds, so to speak, out of your garden of life, they're just going to keep sprouting up, and you're going to be like, why do I keep having this health issue and this health issue and this health issue? And it's because you haven't dealt with the root issue of any of this stuff yet. And so yes, this stuff keeps coming up. So that's what we do. And then, so a lot of times we can barely touch on the psychic surgery stuff, meaning, can you give them real healing for this or that? And because with the psychic surgery, I dig really deep into it and ask for all kinds of changes to happen. So I've had quite a few people with cancer come to me, and we've done a lot of psychic surgery, and that's always, always emotional. A lot of times it's trapped anger, and it's usually something from this lifetime. I had a woman come to me recently and she said, I know exactly why I have cancer. And it's because I was so resentful against my husband for not being the kind of husband I thought he should have been, and how he should have been there and supporting me for different things that happened in her life. And she said, I know I'm the one that gave myself cancer, but I know I'm the one that can get myself out of it too. And that's something Dolores Cannon said is you're powerful enough to make yourself sick. You are also powerful enough to heal yourself. So unless it's something contractual or karmic that you absolutely wanted to experience for whatever lesson it is your soul wanted, it is curable. It is healable, but you're the only one that can heal yourself, because all healing is self-healing. There's nobody else coming out from the outside and healing you. It's all self-healing. So people can walk away from my higher self hypnosis sessions and be like, oh gosh, is that really going to work? Is that going to stick? Is that going to, all these changes and all this healing I got from my higher self and all this amazing advice and wisdom, like, is that even going to stick? That's your ego. That's the fake you. Oh, Aria, hey, I saw you pop in and schedule a mentoring program call with me. Yay. So yeah, again, guys, if you're interested in learning how to do higher self-hypnosis, which includes past life hypnosis, you're going to become a pro at past life hypnosis. You're going to become a pro at life in between life hypnosis. So even just those alone, you can make a living just doing those two things. But then we're going to add the higher self onto it. So higher self hypnosis. So you can go to my website, wokelightworker.com, click on the training and courses tab to learn more about my mentoring. Then I'm going to start up in March. I'm guessing it'll start up in March. And this is my launch pricing that I'm having, guys. I'm guaranteeing that I'm not going to keep it at my launch pricing for very long, because I am literally going to be dumping. When I sat down and calculated how much this program really should cost, it's way more than what I'm going to be charging the first go around, but it's the launch. So that's fine. It's fine. I'm going to be learning. I'm going to still dump a ton of stuff on you and teach you a ton of stuff, but it's the initial one. So you guys will be getting in on the ground level. But anyway, so I want to share with you guys, I got a session here in front of me on my other computer. And what was it? Let me see. Where was that? I think it was today. Oh, okay. So here it is, guys. I'm going to read to you from my screen because when people are under hypnosis, I am typing like crazy. And I, except for the woman today, if she's on here, hello, of course, I won't name any names, but her higher self was very wordy. And so I could not get every single word. I got a lot of it, but there's no way I could get every single word because her higher self went into so much detail about every single question. It was amazing. It was amazing. And her session is going to be put on my Patreon channel. Guys, if you're not a member on my Patreon channel, totally have to go there, patreon.com/woke lightworker, because I put a lot of my new sessions out there and I said hers is going to go out there. And we didn't even get through half of her questions that she wanted me to ask her higher self. So she's going to come back and do another session. But it's because her higher self, every single question would go into so much detail that it was just like, oh my gosh. And she's like, yeah, we definitely need to share this publicly because there's so much in this session that everybody who watches it could learn a ton. Hey, Claudia, I saw you just schedule a mentoring consultation call with me. Yay. If you guys go out there and there's no call times left available, just send me an email at tracy@wokelightworker.com. I do still have a few consultation spots left, but I only schedule out 7 days. Otherwise, people tend to forget that they're on my calendar. And I don't have more than like one time, maybe two, once in a while a day, because I'm doing sessions all day and I still need to go to the gym and I still need to feed my kids. I still need to walk my dog, but I like to do these actually while I walk my dog, do my consultation calls. But anyway, so her session, incredible session, is going to go on my Patreon channel. And I've got so many good sessions out on my Patreon channel. So check that out, patreon.com/woke lightworker. But here I'm going to read off my screen to tell you guys this really cool story. I asked her higher self, is she holding a trapped emotion of rejection in her body? And if yes, where is she holding it? And what is the root cause? Meaning, is it generational? Did it originate with her ancestors? Did it originate in a past life? Is it something just from this life? Is it something she's holding on a soul level? Her higher self said, yes, she is. And it's being held very deeply. It's blue and it's in her sexual reproductive areas, in her groin and her pubic bones. And I asked, why is it in her bones? And I know, from doing psychic surgery that the bones, that's our support and our structure. So I was like, wow, but I wanted her to hear it. So I asked, why is it in her bones? And her higher self said, that's the structure that keeps people feeling sound and stable. I said, so it messes with her feelings of stability and safety? And her higher self said, yes. So then I said, what is the original cause of the rejection? And was told that it was her father in this lifetime. He really made her feel unheard. And that she couldn't really be her true authentic self. And that's a big thing for her now, is to feel like she can be her authentic self and speak her voice. So I said, was she aware of this? Because she had told me when we were doing her intake session that, she's done a lot of healing around her parents and thought that, she had pretty much taken care of most of this. But I always want to ask about this anyway, because we never know. And I'll tell you why. So her higher self said she's aware of it on some level. She does not care anymore for the most part, but she is unaware of the damage it did to her as a little girl. She has done heavy work to heal this. And I said, so is there still some there? I said, so is there still some there still then? Why is it still there? Sorry, I can't even talk. Her higher self said, I don't know why it's still there, but she is allowing it to affect her. So you got to listen carefully to the word. That's what I do. I'm going to teach you, anybody who's in my mentoring program, to learn how to do this. I'm going to teach you how to take the previous question and make it into a really good next question, and the kinds of questions and how to ask follow-up. And we're actually going to practice this in class with each other. But so her higher self said, I don't know why, but she is allowing this rejection to still affect her, the rejection she felt from her father. And I said, okay. I thought to myself, if she's allowing it, that must mean that on some level, it's serving her or benefiting her on some level. You might say it's benefiting her in a twisted way, right? A non-productive, non-healthy way, but it's still serving her in some way. And so this is what her higher self said when I said, how has it been serving her then? And her health self said, it's keeping her safe, playing small, not showing who she is, not putting herself out there. It's protection. Because remember, she's got that in her bones. And so that messes with her stability. So this is for protection. She has a pattern of when she puts herself out there, people use and manipulate and abuse or judge and criticize her. And even if it's in a negative way, and this hurts her core need to feel seen and understood. She feels safer just meeting her own needs, even though she knows it's in direct contradiction to her need for connection. So she had this like kind of, I guess what we would call backwards way of trying to protect herself by holding on to rejection. So here she was working consciously in her conscious mind to release rejection, release. Okay, do all this healing work. But then there was a part of her that was like, I'm keeping this part. I'm not letting go of this rejection because it's protecting me. Because then I get to play small and I don't have to put myself out there. If I feel like I'm going to be rejected by people, then I'm just going to stay small and not, really get out there and shine. So you see how it was kind of like misconstrued by her conscious mind. And so we had to talk to her higher self to actually get that out, because her higher self said she was actually unaware of how much it affected her and impacted that little girl. So then a lot of times we'll go into inner child healing and what else does her inner child need? Is that it? How else can we help her inner child? Oria's so excited. Yay. So let me look at the questions, guys. Sorry, someone said, can you please answer a question? Sorry, let me look at the questions on TikTok, guys. Hold on. I don't have a payment plan option. If you're in the US and Canada, for my mentoring program, I'm not going to offer a payment plan because, guys, I'm not a bank. So I don't have the capacity. I'm a little entrepreneur here. And I have to have money to keep my business running. And I have a staff of 5 other people that I have to pay. So I can't play bank. I'm going to try to work out some situations for people that are not in the US or Canada. But if you are in the US or Canada, you have to be able to get the financing to do it. The financing company pays me the whole balance up front minus a nice chunk for using their financing. But in order, like I said, when you do this, any kind of healing business, you have to run the business side like a business, and you have to run the love and light and people side that way too. But if you are off balance on one, you're going to steal from the other, and the whole thing is going to fall. It's not going to work. And again, that's something that my spirit team drove into me fast, hard, and quick and in a hurry, because you cannot be running your business into the ground, because then you, me, anyone is going to find themselves having to go work a job in corporate America where we're not doing this healing work, where we can't help people, where we can't raise the vibration of the planet. And like I said, I would be way too exhausted to come home and sit here, do these sessions again, 3 hours at night, plus all the follow-up paperwork and everything that gets done afterwards, 4 hours a night after working 8 to 10 hours a day and commuting or whatever it is I got to do. Oh, heck no. I'm not doing that anymore. I'm getting too old for that. My birthday's on Monday. Not going to tell you guys how old I am. A lot of you who've done sessions with me know how old I am, but my birthday's Monday, January 16th. I'm a Capricorn. Let's see. Husky Kimberly, thank you for the rose. Thank you for the roses, Husky Kimberly. Okay, love my dog. Sadie said, hi, love your videos, and hopefully I can have a full session. They are very helpful. Super helpful. Super helpful. I have some videos on my YouTube, guys, if you want, and I have more coming. My video editor's working on them, where as soon as people come out of a higher self hypnosis session, thank you, Angie. Happy birthday, she said. As soon as people come out of a hypnosis session, I'm like, okay, so what was that like? Are you glad you did it? If anybody else is on the fence thinking, should I do a higher self hypnosis session? Should I not do it? What advice would you give to them? And this is when they're right out of their session. And I take those little snippets And I tell my video editor to put them together in little compilation video where you can see like 5 or 7 different people's reactions right when they come out of hypnosis. So I have a couple out there on my YouTube channel already, Woke Lightworker. So if you're not on YouTube, go check those out. And then I have a longer one. It's like 38 minutes long, where I did 2 sessions. I was getting ready to do a second session for a woman who 7 months later had massive transformation in her life. And she just started just going off and talking about it for a long time. So you can go check those out on my YouTube channel. Miss Stormy said, I would love that. And then she said, I have hormone issues. Yeah, hormone issues are absolutely something you can have your higher self regulate, take care of for you. There's so many different ways I could use. Like I said, I really am channeling my higher self when I do these higher self hypnosis sessions. So a lot of times the answers, the questions I come up with are different, kind of whatever feels right. So maybe I'll ask to have some sort of energetic hormone therapy replacement, or something like that happen in your body, like an implant, where you can actually have that constantly giving out that energetic replacement of the progesterone and the estrogen and stuff like that. Or, it'll be totally different every time. I never know what that's going to come out sounding like. But you guys can do your own healing work. You really just have an amazing trainer, personal hypnosis trainer. He does what I guess I'll call normal hypnosis, but him and I are very much on the same wavelength. And we very much we're both channeling when we do our hypnosis sessions. And so he doesn't do his dealing with the higher self, but I learned a ton. I actually had a session with him today, learned a ton more, learned a ton from him. And I love what he says. He says, we don't suffer from a lack of not being able to heal ourselves. We suffer from a lack of imagination. So we've always been taught that imagination is kid stuff and, oh, you're so cute. And, oh, that's just your imagination, and poo-poo it and blow it off. But imagination is where everything happens. Think about it, you guys. Your imagination, think about an architect. Just take a real life example. Think about an architect. An architect sees a building in his mind or her mind that they want to make. Let's just make this one a male. He sees a building in his mind that he wants to have built on this corner in Manhattan. And he has to take it from his mind and then put it on paper, and then it can be built into something physical. So and even home builders, anything, just car manufacturers, they spend a lot of time designing these things. So just take that as like, yeah, it's no different for healing. You're building something new. You're going to be building a new body, basically. Thank you, Husky Kimberly, for the rose. You're going to be building something new. And so you have to use your brain, your mind, your imagination, not your left brain. Take it out of your left brain. And what does it look like to get that healing? Oh, okay. So tell your higher self when you're going to bed at night that you want your higher self, that you're intending and setting the intention and making your bed a sacred healing chamber. Okay, that's a start. What does a sacred healing chamber look like? How are you going to decorate it? Who's going to be there performing healing over you while you're sleeping or while you're doing a conscious healing session in your mind? Okay, you want to invite the Arcturians. They love to help heal. You want to invite the Syrians. You want to invite this other race. It's called the Ankanash. They specialize in healing from Sirius B, right? Planet Sirius B. Want to invite maybe some Pleiadians that are really into healing. Maybe you want to invite former Reiki masters who have passed to the other side, angels, healing angels, guides, teachers, masters, anything like that. Use your imagination. What does it look like to set that up? I will tell you guys a really quick story I don't know how quick it'll be, sorry. But when I was diagnosed with diverticulitis, this was like 2 years ago now, almost 2 years ago, was diagnosed with diverticulitis. So normally what I understand is that people normally will have an attack, so to speak, like every 6 months or so. And that it is the most painful thing. Anyone who has diverticulitis, oh my gosh, my heart just breaks for you because it is so painful. It feels like someone is taking a knife and stabbing you in your colon, like sticking it up you and stabbing you. Like it is so painful. And so I started having these attacks like more and more and more frequently, to the point where for 2 months in a row, I would have an attack that would last like 5 days. Then I'd be okay for like 4 days. Then I would have another 5 day attack. Then I'd be okay for 4 days. Then I'd have another 5 day attack. And this went on for like 2.5 months. And it happened over Christmas. And I was just like, I can't deal with this. There's no way I can live with this. There's no way. I kind of took it extreme, but my spirit team, my soul knew that I meant it. And I went and I looked at myself in the mirror one day, and I looked myself right in the eyes, and because I was talking to my soul, right? My conscious mind talking to my soul. And I said, if you don't heal me, I'm checking out, because I will not, because I knew that if I went to a medical doctor, they would cut out part of my colon, and I'd probably end up having to wear a bag the rest of my life. And I was like, hell no. Hell no. I'm not wearing a bag the rest of my life. I know how to heal myself. I had healed myself of 2 incurable diseases before this. I knew I could be healed. And so I said, you either heal me or take me out. And I will not do this healing work, because I'm not going to be wearing a bag, being a healer and doing this kind of work, because I know for a fact that this can be healed and that I can heal it. So you need to show me the way, or I'm done, and you can find someone else to do this healing work. So is me giving an ultimatum, not saying that's the best way to approach it, but that's what I did. So, and I didn't do that for the other 2 things that I worked with my spirit team to get healed up. So I don't do that every time, but I truly meant it. I truly meant it. And I know that on a soul level, my soul was like, oh, holy crap. Alarm bells went off, like, oh no, we need her to be down there as a healer. Let's keep her down there. So we better work with her to heal her, right? Thank you, Husky Kimberly, for the rose again. So what they showed me, I said, okay, take me to a sacred healing chamber. So I decorated, what does my sacred healing chamber look like? I decorated it. I placed, this like stone table, like imagine like, I don't know, Roman times or something, like a stone table. And it was about like this deep. And I had it be filled with water, because I know water is like a conductor for energy. So it just felt right that there should be like a thin layer of water on the bottom of it. And then I invited the Arcturians, the Pleiadians, healing angels, Archangel Raphael, my guides, my healing master, my psychic surgeon. I asked for a psychic surgeon and healing master years ago, invited them to be there. And I just asked them to work on me every single night. And I would lie there as I was going to sleep. And I would imagine what they were doing. And I just let my imagination, my mind, just take me wherever it took me. And I'd be like open to it and say, okay, what does it look like? What are you guys doing? And I saw them, because I don't think I could have made this up, but I saw them take like this triangle. It looked like it was a golden triangle, and put it outside my body. So it wasn't an implant, it was an explant. But I saw them put this energetic gold triangle outside of my abdomen, outside of my colon. And they said, okay, what we're going to do, I heard them say this to me, what we're going to do is we're going to have all the food, when it's digested, that would normally go down through those spots in the colon that are so inflamed and so irritated. We're going to have all the food, kind of like the energy from the food and the food, kind of jump out of my stomach, so to speak, like jump out and go through that golden triangle to be filled with light. And it's going to like skip over those parts of your colon that are causing you so much pain. And then it's going to go back in so that it can be taken care of or pain-free, right? So, I mean, here, if I was in my ego mind, I would have been like, oh, that's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. Like, oh yeah, where did that come from? I'd totally be doubting it. But I was like, okay, right? I'm just going to go with what I hear. I don't doubt my spirit team. I just don't doubt them anymore, because I've just seen too many crazy things and wild, crazy, amazing things. And every time I listen to them, they're always right. They're always spot on. Here's my little fidgety thing I'm holding on to. A little dragonfly I got in Colorado this summer. So then it was like, it started decreasing and decreasing and decreasing. And I just kept going, take me to the sacred healing chamber, have me lie in there all night while I'm sleeping. So I'd visualize all this as I was going to sleep again. I'd ask for a plasma body upgrade. I'd ask for all my bones, muscles, organs, everything to be filled with light, to be cleansed and cleared, to have my blood flushed with light, to have all of my cells rejuvenated. I mean, anything I could possibly think of. Fill me with all the vitamins, minerals, nutrients my body could ever need. I was spending a lot of time in the sun, asking for the sun and setting the intention that the sun would just bring healing to my body. And I would expose my stomach area, of course, and say, the sun is helping to heal my colon. The sun is helping to heal my digestive tract, all of this. And I was just in constant healing mode with this. And then it started getting a lot less. And then it was like really infrequently that I was having these attacks. And then one day I started having an irritation in there again. And I was like, oh, like panic, like, oh no, did it not work? Like, what's going on? And I was like, okay, no, calm down. Don't freak out. Don't panic. We're in faith. They put that explant, that gold triangle on you. It's working. It's fine. Don't worry about it. And then I heard them say, what we're going to do tonight though, is we're going to put almost like an egg beater, how it spins really fast. We're going to put that inside your stomach, in your intestines. And we're going to have that make sure it catches all of the food, and it's going to spin it up so that it really just gets all of it and it flies through that golden triangle. And they said, and then every once in a while, when you think about that golden triangle, just ask your spirit team to cleanse it and clear it and flush it out and, keep it in perfect working order. But that's it. You won't need anything else. And I'm telling you guys, it's almost 2 years now. Like, I can eat anything and I do not have any problems with my colon or my intestines or nothing. And I'm telling you, to come back from having had these diverticulitis attacks every 4 days and be in massive, bending over massive pain for 5 straight days after that is incredible. Like, it's amazing. But the key again is you have to use your right brain. You have to get into your imaginative state to be able to do something like that. And you can't doubt. And you can just open yourself up to listening to your spirit team, to your guides, to your higher self. Your spirit council sent your guides here to be the ones helping you and guiding you and directing you in this life. They have a very explicit purpose. So if you've never even talked, thank you so much for the rose, Wildbird. If you've never talked to your spirit team before, start. Even if you feel like, oh, but I can't even really hear them. And are they even listening? 100% they're listening. Oh, thank you for the roses. S Beach 111. Thank you. And so just start talking to them. They are totally there for you. They totally hear you. And the more you start talking and the more you believe and the more you have faith that they're there, you're going to start hearing them because they're talking to you all the time. But you'll actually start hearing them and then just start believing that you're hearing from them. And it's not going to sound like a different voice. It's going to sound like your voice because you don't have like some guy with a French accent coming in your head talking, going, hello, I'm here. I'm your higher self. No, it sounds like you. That's the voice you have playing in your head. So it's just being sensitive and open and listening for that. So let me look at some more questions. I tried hypnosis with someone, paid big money for it, but couldn't get hypnotized. What's your policy? I have a no guarantee, no refund policy. And that is but I also do a consultation call with everyone prior to the session to make sure that I feel like you would be a good candidate for it. So if I don't feel like you're a good candidate for it, then I'd probably tell you to go practice meditating or something like that. But the only reason you couldn't, quote unquote, go under is because you had a block. So you have to figure out, because it's not me. I put people under all the time. So it's definitely not me. It's definitely the other person. And you have some sort of block. You're letting your ego run the show instead of your higher self, your real you, your authentic self, your God self. You're not letting your authentic self run the show. And so that's a you issue. And so I would highly recommend reading this book. And I don't mean reading it one time. I mean brainwashing yourself with it, because it's a heck of a lot better to brainwash yourself with this than it is the nightly news. So this book is called One Truth, One Law, or you can look it up under the words I Am, I Create. And the author's name is Aaron Worley, but just look it up under the book. I Am, I Create. One Truth, One Law, I Am, I Create. It's really small. I think I have it on my nightstand. I don't have it here. It's really small, but you can listen to it on Audible too. And I'll name the book again in just another minute for anybody who missed it. But I was feeling off. I'm not going to lie. I was feeling off for a couple weeks, beginning of January, like energetically, emotionally. And I don't know if it's this, Mercury in retrograde or whatever it was, but I was feeling really off. And my spirit team told me to get out that book again. And so I put it on play while I walked my dog the other night. And it popped me right back into place. And it's all about it's the difference between your ego and your higher self, and what it's like to really live from your authentic self. And I also have a class coming up, and it was going to start, 2 days ago, January 10, but I moved the start date to February 7, you guys. So if you want to go to my website, wokelightworker.com, it's a 4-week class I have coming up on connecting to your higher self. And it's all about living as that real you, that authentic you, that higher self you, that God you. How do you do that? What does that look like? And I'm telling you, oh my gosh, you have way more peace, a way higher perspective on things, so that every little thing, once you really get going, living like this and practicing how to live as the real you, the soul you, the higher self you, so much peace in your life. I mean, I am just a completely different person, and that's why I love teaching this stuff. So, and the reason I don't give any refunds and have a policy of, well, if you can't go under because you have a block, again, I have to run the business side of things. And it's not my fault that someone can't go under, because I put people under all the time, every day. And if you can't go under, I'm not going to take the financial hit of giving up my time that day, because it's about 5 hours I would give up before I'd realize that you weren't letting go and wouldn't release into going into that meditative state. So I've given you 5 hours of my time, and I did not have a session with someone else who could go under and pay me. So I can't go a whole day without pay and give you 5 hours of my time to just explore and practice on you. When I have a business to run. Like I said, I have a staff of 5 people I have to pay. I got to make a living, or I'm going to have to go get a job in a corporate environment somewhere. So I don't have a refund policy. So the best thing you can do to prepare for any kind of session like this is to practice guided meditations while you are awake. That is the best thing you can do. And I have some that I recommend practicing with, that I pulled off of YouTube, and I have a free one I offer everyone. If you go to my website, it's a meditation on connecting to your higher self. You can get it for free just by going to my website, wokelightworker.com. And then under the tab called videos, I have a number of them from YouTube that I recommend practicing with. So that is the best thing you can do. Practicing quieting your ego mind, because it's obviously very strong if you can't let go of it. That's the one that's prevalently working in your life. So you can quiet that voice away and just channel through and bring through peace and quiet that's accompanied with your soul. So hopefully that was my long answer to that one. Prices for my sessions are all out on my YouTube, on my website, wokelightworker.com. So is information on my new mentoring program. If you guys are interested in learning how to do this, learning kind of what we're going to cover, what we're going to talk about, it's all on my website, wokelightworker.com. Let me see what other kind of questions we've got. Husky Kimberly, I've always told my kids to use their imagination. It's connected with their spirituality and their self. 100%, 100%. That is where we create everything. Oh, thank you for all the happy birthday wishes, guys. Oh, wow. There's a lot of them here. Thank you. My birthday's Monday. Not going to tell anyone how old I am, how young I am, right? Went to see a CPA yesterday, a new CPA, and he goes, okay, Miss Ventura, how young are you? And I was like, oh, I love that. That was so nice. Asking me like that. Thank you, Husky Kimberly. Oh, wow. DMS 1000 said, this is exactly what my mother is going through with her colon. She can't be hypnotized, but she can, if she's open to it, she can use her imagination and call in a healing team for her and healing masters. But just keep in mind, you can't heal for anybody else. You're not going to, you're wishing and you're hoping and you're trying to force someone else into it who won't believe in something like this is not going to bring them healing. It's just not. In that case, you're going to be depending on prayer, and prayer works. Prayer does work. Does it work all the time? If you would say, does it work, quote unquote, all the time? The answer would be no. I mean, we all know that. That's not anything new, because we can't do anything that is against anyone else's soul desires and against their free will. You know, they're not open to it. They're not open to it. It's their journey, right? Learning so much, SB said. Thank you. She is asking if you can help her. Oh, about the diverticulitis. I'm not really sure what you mean, help her go under. She would have to believe that she could be hypnotized. And when I say hypnotized, guys, this is not hypnosis like you would think. What I do is more like meditation. And that's why getting you into a relaxed meditative state. That is why the best thing you can do to prepare for a higher self hypnosis session is to practice meditations that are guided, where someone's guiding you on what to see. We're going to go this, we're going to walk through this beach, we're going to walk through the sand, feel the sand under your toes, whatever it is. They're guiding you and you're following along, and you're able to keep your mind quiet and not doubt what you're seeing. Not be like, oh, this is stupid, I'm making this up, or have your mind just drift off to a million other things about what you should be doing and what you need to be doing and making dinner and grocery shopping and all this other stuff. To be able to really be present, you have to learn how to be present and be in that moment and be part of that guided meditation. That is the best thing you can do. If you guys can go to my website, wokelightworker.com, and click on the videos tab, if you can do those meditations and practice those meditations, and you're like, oh my gosh, I was able to follow it, it went great, you'll probably have a really great past life session, life in between life session, and higher self hypnosis session with me, because all three are combined in one. So always love seeing you and new content. Wildbird Feather said, thank you. How do you know if you're a good candidate for, I guess I just kind of answered that one for a session. That's how you know if you can do if you can stay there and focused and have a really great guided meditative session, you're a great candidate for this. What do higher self say? How important is sleeping? Oh, super important, because that's when, this is the cool thing about sleeping. And this is also, again, in that book, I'm going to name it again, the one I recommend all the time. One Truth, One Law. I Am, I Create. You can get on Amazon. Her name is Erin Worley, who wrote it. But that's a book you want to read like many, many, many times. Literally brainwash yourself with it, because it's amazing. And it's nice and short. But even what Creator said, because she channeled Creator, and her husband was asking her questions, and she channeled Creator. And Creator said that the reason we have to sleep is because that's where our ego is not there interfering with anything. And we can actually have our body repair itself. If we didn't have an ego, we wouldn't really necessarily need to sleep. There are so many races out there that don't sleep. Like, they don't need to sleep. Even if they have a physical body, they don't need to sleep. Do they rest and have downtime? Yeah, but they don't sleep. And so us as humans do, because we have these really strong egos and all these emotions, and there's all this repair that has to happen in our bodies while we're sleeping, when the ego is not interfering. And so sleep is super important. Actually, it's really important to get sleep, to get regular sleep. And higher self always says to make sure that you're on a schedule. My spirit team is always hounding me about being on a sleep schedule, a regular sleep schedule. So I know it's super important. The book title again is One Truth, One Law. I Am, I Create. What if you have a hard time with visualization? Hey, Taylor. I see you asking that question. What if you have a hard time with visualization? If you have a hard time with visualization, you should practice. That's number one, because everybody can visualize. You just have some sort of block there. It's a you issue again. It's your block. So just release it. Figure out, work with your higher self and be like, if I could answer the question to myself, what is blocking me from being able to visualize? What would the answer be? And go with the first thing that comes to your mind. Ask your higher self. Not sure what some possibilities would be. Maybe you were, burned as a witch in a previous life or something like that for using your healing abilities. And you're like, oh my gosh, I'm never going to do that. I'm never going to see things anymore. I don't want to see psychic things. There's things about people's lives anymore. And so therefore you don't visualize anymore. I don't know what the cause might be, but if you can't, in these sessions, you can also feel things. So when somebody comes into a past life, I'll say, so do you feel male or do you feel female? Does it feel like you're wearing anything on the top of your head? Does it feel like you have shoes on your feet? I mean, are your feet constricted and tight? Or do they feel like they're directly touching the surface? Does it feel like you're barefoot? So you can go by feeling on a lot of these things. It's not as exciting of a session to listen to for someone who's listening, but you, as the person getting the session, would be lying there feeling all these things happening in your body. And I had a session like that the other day where she wasn't seeing anything. She was just feeling all of this stuff. So, like I said, it wasn't really thrilling to listen to because I can't feel it. She's feeling it. And I didn't get descriptions of all the stuff that was going on with her, but she absolutely felt it and said it was amazing and incredible. Yeah. So yes, my Capricorn, my sun is in Capricorn. Yep. Age is nothing but a number. Just dropping, wanting to say hi. Thank you. Thank you. Really appreciate you and your wisdom. Oh, thank you. Dynaco 1184. Thank you. Oh my gosh, that book is free right now on Kindle or Amazon with a membership. Okay, well, there you go, guys. That's what Trail Cat 3 said. So the one truth, one law, I am, I create, which is the one I highly recommend you read. And then also take my higher self class, guys, coming up starting February 7th for 4 weeks. I have a class called Connecting to Your Higher Self. You can go to wokelightworker.com under courses and register for it. I'm putting so much time and so much effort into that class. I mean, 40 hours probably worth of my work to teach 4 weeks for you guys on how to be and live as your higher self. Like, I'm so excited because this is my thing, coming here to teach about being and living as your higher self. I'm super excited about it. So that starts February 7th, and you'll get a replay of it if you're not able to be there live. So go to my website, wokelightworker.com, to register for that class. It's 4 weeks, and each class is 1.5 hours to 2 hours long. And we're going to do a lot of exercises in it, a lot of practice things. I'm going to give you guys some homework, meaning not like school homework or anything like that. Of course, it's going to be stuff you can practice on connecting more to your higher self between 1 week and the next week. So I'm super excited to bring you guys that class. Let me see what else we got here. Let me go down a little bit. Makes sense. I've been working with my guides on that. I dream in full color, so I know I can, said Taylor. Yeah, you totally can. You totally can visualize. Just set the intention. Ask your spirit team to help you, because you totally can visualize 100%. Let me see. See if I'm missing any questions, guys. Let me see. I don't think I'm missing any of them. I didn't want to be on here very long, so I'm actually probably not going to be on here too much longer. But let me see if I'm going to show you guys my hell no button again. Let me see what it says this time when I press it.
Hell no.
Hell no.
After much scientific research, we concluded the answer to be hell no.
So I bought this button. I know it's probably hard to hear over the internet, but I bought this button, hell no, so that when I go to reach for snacks, I'm going to put this in my snack pantry where I have snacks for my kids, even if it's just like chips or granola bars. Trying to lose weight. I'm going to see that button and be like, oh, hell no, I'm not going to do that to myself. Oh, Hell no. Let me see. What else can I share from my session today? Let me see. So here's something. This is really helpful for everyone. So I asked my client's higher self, what is underneath her ability to feel safe and be able to trust herself? And is there anything else she needs besides pulling that trapped emotion and teaching her cells how to feel safe that she needs in order to feel safe and protected? Because we pulled the trapped emotion of feeling unsafe. I asked her higher self to give her an abundance of receptors in her cells for feeling safe, for safety, for peace and safety. So her higher self said she spent the majority of her life betraying her trust. She has always known who she can trust and who is safe and who is not. The reason she feels unsafe is because she did not follow her own intuition. And now that she does, and she knows better and has learned from that lesson, something is still lost in translation from her previous way of being, and some wires are crossed. So now she knows how to listen to her intuition, but growing up in her whole life, she knew who she could trust, but she didn't listen to her intuition. So she's got some wires crossed. So I said, well, can you uncross those wires for her? And her higher self said, yes. If you trust and follow your intuition, you are safe, period. I love that. If you trust and follow your intuition, you are safe, period. Where you get into trouble and potential danger is not connecting with yourself, with your inner knowing. Again, with your higher self, your God self, who you really are, right? Where you get into trouble is not connecting with your inner knowing or connecting with it and ignoring it or denying it. Letting this, what Dolores Cannon calls Mr. Stupid Head, override your intuition and what you know you should be doing, who you should be seeing, who you shouldn't be seeing, what you should be doing or learning. Choices may be hard. People may be upset. You may cause hurt in them by following your intuition and guidance, but that is not your concern. You are your own responsibility. The rest will take care of itself. When you walk in alignment with your inner knowing, with your higher truth, things fall into place. Fear or lack of safety cannot coexist with that line of thinking and that way of being. Wasn't that awesome? That was so awesome. I'm telling you, this session, her higher self gave really good long answers for every question we asked. And this session is going to be going on my Patreon channel very soon. So it's not going to be tomorrow or anything like that because we have to edit the video and all that kind of stuff. But it is going to be coming up on my Patreon channel. So watch for that. If you're not a member on my Patreon, it's super inexpensive. It's super cheap. You can go to patreon.com/woke lightworker. So let me see if anyone else has said anything. I feel exceptionally grateful for this knowledge. Oh, you're so welcome. Life is so painful, but working towards leaning into and allowing the lessons to come. Okay, let me tell you guys something that can help change your life. You want to hear this? So something I ask a lot for my clients is for their higher self to download in them this program of being able to accept everything as it is, exactly as it is, without the need for it to be anything different. I'm going to say that again in just a little bit because it's a lot. But this is where you're going to get peace. This is how you live a life in flow and surrender, which is the big word for 2023, surrender. Okay. Accepting everything as it is, exactly as it is, without the need for it to be anything different. Because the need, there's no such thing as need, guys. Need is just your ego mind, your dumb, stupid, human thinking mind, right? That's where need comes from. There is no need for anything to be anything different than exactly what it is right now. Even if you think that it's painful, even if you think it's difficult or a struggle or really hard, there is no need for it to be anything other than what it is, because there are lessons and experiences in absolutely everything. And because you are experiencing it, here comes the ouchie. You guys might want to get a Band-Aid for this one. Here's the ouchie. It's there in your life because you attracted it on some level. Ouch, right? It's 100% personal responsibility. And until you take 100% personal responsibility for every single thing in your life, you're not going to be in flow. You're not going to be able to accept what I just said, that flow and surrender, accepting everything as it is, exactly as it is, without the need for it to be anything different. So again, until we take personal responsibility that we are 100% responsible for everything that happens in our lives. Even me, I know, I think a lot of you know my story, that I had a narcissistic first husband who, this was karmic. So it was karmic. It was supposed to happen. It was part of my soul plan. But I stayed with him, even though I should have gone, and he was abusive, and something very tragic happened. And I stayed with him despite him being abusive. And so was I 100% responsible for everything that happened? Yeah. Because had I left, of course, you're always looking hindsight, right? Had I left, obviously that wouldn't have happened with him anyway. But the tragic event was karmic, and it was part of my soul path. And I got to see very clearly later on how it all fit together and why it was the way it was. But again, on a soul level, I'm still responsible because I planned that event, right? So I'm still 100% responsible because I planned it. It was a balancing of karma for a couple of other individuals. So we are 100% on some level responsible for everything that happens to us. So living more as the true, authentic you, the God or goddess that you really are, that's in there underneath all these layers that you've, in these labels and these masks that you've put on top of it, you're in there. And thank you, Husky Kimberly, for the roses again. You're in there, and you are the one who planned all of this, and you're the one who makes the decisions, and you're the one that's okay with all these things that happen, actually, right? Because from a soul level, we look at it and go, who cares if I go and experience this tragedy and that thing and this thing and that thing? Our souls are like, but look at the gold I'm going to get out of this. I am going to be so much stronger. I'm going to be braver. I'm going to be closer to remembering who I really am on a soul level. It's going to be amazing. Our souls are not concerned with the suffering at all because it knows it is so, so minute and so temporary, even though here on the earth, it feels like it's so huge and it's such a big, big deal. And it's just not. Our perception is off. So living from the perception of your real you, your God you, your higher self you get to see these things in a totally different way. That's why it's so amazing to be connected and living every day as your higher self. And like I've said this before, like my prayer every morning when I wake up, I always say to my higher self, I'm like, let every word that comes out of my mouth, every thought that I think, every action I take come from my higher self, the perspective of my higher self. I don't say not my ego because I don't want to be saying the negative out there because then I'm attracting it, right? But I say, let it be from that aspect of me, that higher self aspect of me. Let it be that part of me that says everything, that thinks everything, that does everything. That is my prayer every day, is let me be, live as, and be fully my higher self. That's the experience I want to have in this lifetime. You can see there's most of the people on this planet not even aware they have a higher self, number one. But They just want to keep living and working as their ego. And that's totally fine because they're getting experiences and it doesn't matter. They're all just experiences. If someone is not waking up, we don't want to shove it down their throat and tell them, oh, but you got to see this, you got to see the light. No, it's their journey. They learn amazing lessons by walking and living and acting and thinking as their ego self. It doesn't matter if it looks painful to us or if it doesn't look painful to us. If they're successful in our judgment or not successful in our judgment, it doesn't matter. They're still having incredible experiences. Even higher self has said, even those who suffer addiction, so we say suffer, who have addictions, alcoholism, drug addiction, anything like that, OMG, they are learning huge, huge, huge lessons for their life, for their soul journey, huge lessons. And we look at it and go, oh my gosh, they're ruining their life. They're wasting their life. No, they are learning huge lessons. And we look at it from our small self, from our lower self. We're not looking at it from the perspective of higher self at all. So that was free. I'm going to tell you guys something. When I did this session today, she was a nurse, and this is the one that's going to go on my Patreon channel soon. She was a nurse, and when she left that body, she had a son who died, and that just haunted her and was really, really, really hard for her. But let me see. When she left her body, what'd she say? This is the life in between lives stuff. She said all the problems, now she's above her body, she's left her body, she's looking down at the scene. She said all the problems and issues are trivial now. But people down there on earth, they're stuck in that. They can't see past the issues. They're not capable to see how insignificant it all is. Right? It's like, gosh, why should we wait until we leave our bodies and we're looking down at our dead body and people crying over us before we go, oh my gosh, like I took that life thing so seriously. And now I see, again, what she said, all the problems and issues are trivial now, but the people down there on earth, they're still stuck in that. They can't see past it. They're not capable to see how insignificant it all is. Like, wow, right? Why do we want to wait till we get to that point to be like, let me just live in that energy now. Let me just have that belief and live in that now, to have that kind of release, that kind of peace. So you're not looking for things to numb your life. You're not looking at drugs or alcohol to escape. You're not looking at sex to escape. You're not looking at anything like that because you don't need to have an escape mentality or escape belief if you understand that it's just not that serious, right? That we're just taking it way too serious. Learning how to live again from the perspective of that higher you, the higher you versus the lower you. And it's just so vastly different to live from one to the other. But no one's ever trained us, ever taught us how to live as our higher aspect, our higher self, the love that we are, the God that we are, the goddess that we are. No one's ever taught us that. So you have to seek out this training on your own and teach yourself. And like I said, I have that class. Not that I said all that to promote my class. I honestly didn't, but it's a perfect plug. My class starting February 7th for 4 weeks on connecting to your higher self. And we're going to talk about what it's like to be your higher self, to live as your higher self, give you lots of practice things to do and work on a continuous basis. So you can be in that energy and feel that more often. So again, my website's wokelightworker.com. And for anyone who's just recently joined, if you're interested in learning how to do this past life regression, life in between lives regression, and higher self hypnosis, if you think it would be really part of your purpose and your passion, in March, I'm starting a mentorship program. It's not free. It's not free mentoring. I don't give my time away for free when I have a business to run. I can't do that. Went into that at the beginning of this video. But you can check out my website, wokelightworker.com, and click on the courses and training tab. read all about the program. If it sounds interesting, then you can schedule a 30-minute consultation call with me to talk more about it, have your questions answered. So if you're interested in anything like that, again, it's wokelightworker.com. That's where you can also register for my class. And you can go to my YouTube site, guys, and see some of my sessions, or my Patreon channel, which is my newer sessions, patreon.com/wokelightworker. So I think I'm going to see if there's any more questions before I end it. Let me see. It's good to see you, friend. Hello. So true, said Taylor. Let me see. I tried to do past life regression, but I didn't see anything. Will I start seeing stuff soon? It depends if you remove the block that you have there for yourself. I mean, if there's any block to seeing anything, that's just something we've put there for ourselves. There's nobody that can make you in your brain do anything you don't allow yourself to do on some level. I'm sorry for your pain, friend. Not your fault, but opportunity to learn from, right? Thank you. I love seeing your lives on here, and thank you for teaching us. You're welcome. Was it your fault when you were sexually abused as a young child? I don't know what you mean by fault. So there's no fault. Was it a plan? It was either a plan from you or your spirit team. So I will say that. I don't think there's anybody's fault. We plan these lives. But I will tell you, I'm gonna give you a perfect example of this. Let me read it off this session today came in so handy. Let me read it off my session for today. When I asked her if she was able to help plan her life, her next life. So she died. She was this nurse that had this tragic event. She lost her son, and she had grief the rest of her life. So I said, were you able to help plan your next life? This is what she said. She said, no need for planning. I was doing more playing. This is in between lives. I was doing more playing, having fun, dancing, laughing, playing games, just connecting with people. It was a time for healing from the trauma and the rough things that happened in the last life. It feels like somebody else planned my life, but I knew it was what I needed and what would be helpful. And it sounded good, kind of like how a parent plans for a child based on their needs and strengths and weaknesses. I had input on who everyone would be in my life. I had an attitude of this will work out, whatever, I'm just here for the ride. Okay. Something came in my head about a male grandfather, and I said no to him. I did not want that person in my life. They would harm me in irreparable ways, and I did not want to go through with that. That pushed me too far, and then I said no to certain things and experiences I had no interest in. But if something sounded remotely okay or interesting, I was fine and had flexibility. So that's what she said. So is it your fault if you're sexually abused? Was it my fault that my first husband killed my daughter? No, it wasn't I guess it kind of was, because I stayed with him knowing he was abusive. Did I ever think he would kill her? Not in a million, billion, trillion years. I didn't. So, but was it my fault? I'm not going to say this anybody's fault. Was it pre-planned? Yeah, it was actually. It was for me to work out karma with two other individuals who ended up benefiting from that situation from me. So I won't go into too much about that. I've talked about it I have a class online called Gaslighting, Manipulation, and Narcissism on my website, wokelightworker.com, that you can buy. It's on demand now because I already taught the live version. But I tell my whole story in that class, talking about, because he was a narcissist. So talking about gaslighters, manipulators, and narcissists. But so there's no fault. We plan things for the experiences, and to think that your human mind can even wrap itself around why you would plan something awful, why you would plan the horrible, think of the most horrible thing you could imagine in this planet, why you would plan to either do that or be a victim of that is much too difficult for our human minds to wrap itself around. So you can't pretend that you can put your human mind in the place of your soul. They're not the same thing, right? They're just not. They're not going to ever meet or agree, because the ego does not want you to be your higher self. Your ego is your lower self. Your ego does not want you to be your higher self because it means the death of the lower self. And so it's not ever going to agree with the higher self, how the higher self plans things, how your spirit council helped plan things, how your guides helped plan and put that situation into place. Your human mind is never going to be okay with that. The ego is never going to be okay with that. Your ego is always the one, the lower self is always the one that's no, no, no. That's wrong. That's bad. You're wrong. You're bad. I'm wrong. That is the lower self. That's all that lower self does. That's not the higher self, and they're never going to see eye to eye. So if you try to comprehend how something terrible could have happened to you or anyone else in this lifetime with your lower self mind, it's never going to work. It's never going to work. You're never going to understand it. You can't come at it from that mind. Okay. So, I think that answered that question. Great job. Let me see. Thank you for helping us learn. Lightworker, you're so welcome. How could it be planned at 4 years old? I don't agree. You don't have to agree. No one has to agree. You can believe whatever you want. Everybody is free. This is what I've learned. This is what higher selves have told me. You're free to believe anything you want. You can have any belief. Your lower self is free to grab onto any belief that it wants to have, right? Free to grab any belief. And then that lower self is the one who holds all these beliefs that we have. Belief that I'm rejected, belief that I'm abandoned, belief that I'm this, belief that I'm that I'm no good, that I'm unsafe, all these things. And then we're sitting here trying to peel away all these beliefs when the higher self is up here going, I don't have any beliefs. I'm totally belief free. Everything is just an experience. Everything just is. There's no 4-year-old self that plans anything. Everything is planned. Any major events like that, any life lessons and big experiences like that are 90, from what I've seen, are about 90% pre-planned. Some things are not pre-planned. About 10% or less is not pre-planned, even if it's like a major thing, abuse of any kind, but it's still used by our soul, our spirit council. It's still used by the spirit council, by our guides, by our soul as a learning and growing experience. It's still used. We have the option at any time to check out, guys. If it's not going according to our soul plan, our team, our soul can take us out. But if it didn't take us out, then they felt it was still like, hey, we're just going to keep this train going because it's still going to get to a destination where it's going to learn lessons and it's going to have experiences. Because otherwise you would have been taken out and you're still here because you're listening to me. So for what that is, but no need to be offended. I mean, the lower self loves to protect its beliefs and go, no, that's wrong. No, that's wrong. I don't believe that. No one's saying that you can't have any beliefs you don't want to have regarding anything. You can absolutely cover your lower self with all the beliefs in the world that you want to have. And then you get to live with those beliefs and have them and defend them. Because if you have beliefs, you have to defend them. You have to stick up for them because that's your belief, right? But you don't have to defend anything when you're living as the higher self and you don't have those beliefs. And you're just like, everything just is. Everything's just an experience. You want to go have your beliefs in this or that or this or that? Hey, that's your life. It's your journey. You get to do whatever you want. No one is making anyone believe any certain thing. We get to do this journey any way that we want to. Any way we want. So, let me see if there's anything else. Take us out, meaning die. Die. We'll just like leave our human body, leave the physical body to die, and we can just leave. Or we can be a walk-in. We can just say, oh, this is too hard, spirit team. My soul, not my conscious mind, my soul doesn't want to experience that life anymore. Does anybody else want to use that body? Or are we just going to let that body die? A lot of times, another soul will be like, oh gosh, no. Don't leave that body to die. I'll come in and I'll take over. And then that other soul will come in and take your place and you'll just check out and they'll check in and they'll finish living that life out. So that happens all the time. You guys can watch my TikToks to learn more about walk-ins and what that is. It's not a weird thing or a woo-woo thing. It's actually really common that happens. And it's just like swapping out main character actors in a play. If you watch a play, I mean, somebody else is always on the back who knows all the lines of the main character, because if he or she gets sick, somebody else has to step in because it's a Broadway play and it has to go on. So it's the same thing. They just put the costume on in the back and they come out and they play the character and they play the role. It's the same exact thing. That's what a walk-in is. So you can either, your spirit team and your soul can just decide to let the body die if it's not something that was pre-planned or not something that your soul wants you to experience for this journey, or let a walk-in come in and finish it out who says, yeah, I'm totally okay with that. I'll take that lesson, not a problem. So how does someone else's free will play a part in what is planned for us? Is it actually free will? Well, everyone does have free will, but how does someone else's free will play a part in what is planned for us? I mean, we kind of have the people that we're going to incarnate with, and that's the fun about being in life. I mean, from a soul perspective, is you kind of never know exactly what anybody's really going to do. So again, going to the session that I had today, this is super fun, guys. So she had an agreement, a contractual agreement with a male who's going to be male in this lifetime. And the two of them, we didn't ask specifically if they were twin flames. She believes they were twin flames, but they're super, super, super closely connected. So they may be twin flames. They had an agreement that they were going to come down here and be partners, and that they were going to have a son. That was the pre-birth agreement. That was their plan for coming down here. Well, you know what they say about the best laid plans often go astray, because he came down here and for whatever reason, he did not uphold his end of the bargain. And he was not energetically at a place he needed to be, and in her mind, a decent enough person that she could ever be a partner with him. Like, he just wasn't there. But there was this massive, crazy connection with him because they were supposed to be here. They had an agreement, a really strong agreement, actually, to be incarnating together as partners and have a child in this lifetime. And it's really caused her a lot of emotional, thinking and agony over this situation. And her higher self shed a lot of light on it. He just didn't do what he said he was going to do. I mean, for whatever reason that is, we come down here, we have free will. We can change our mind. We can take a different path. Instead of going on a healing journey for ourselves, we can decide, oh no, I'm going to stay stuck in this lower self-belief that, I'm trash and I'm rejected and I'm abandoned, or whatever other beliefs we've just heaped onto our lower self. And he was not interested in doing his healing. And he was not the type of person she could have a partnership with at all. So when we asked her higher self about that, that's what we were told. And then I asked, is it possible to cut that cord between them? Because it's really creating a lot of havoc in her life. And she feels like she's like stuck. She can't move on because she feels like really connected to this other guy, even though she can't be with him. She's not going to tolerate the way he is. And he's not interested in changing on her timeline, right? So her higher self said, this is interesting. Her higher self said that it had to call in help for it because it was the strongest connection her higher self had ever seen. And it was some really big, massive connection between the two of them. And it was a pretty strong contract. Absolutely, they were supposed to be together and they were going to have a kid. And so her higher self had to call in extra help to get that cut. And it was a super, super strong connection. But said after that, now she's actually her higher self actually let her sit there and grieve for a minute, because that was a really hard thing on a soul level to happen, because her whole soul and heart was into that connection. So her higher self gave her a moment to grieve, and then told us that she would be in a position now to be able to move on and find a mate who would be an energetic, a better energetic connection for her, because for whatever reason, he just didn't do what he was supposed to do to be in a place to be with her in this lifetime. So I know that was a long story. Sorry, guys. Oh, hi, Pyra. No, today's not my birthday. Monday's my birthday. And yours was yesterday. Happy birthday. That was from YouTube. Let me see what else. What are orbs and bright orbs? Energy of some kind. I mean, I don't study orbs or anything. I've never had anyone ask about orbs, but I mean, I know it's just energy, probably energy being, could be fairies, something like that. Can you tell during your sessions that it happens, the walk-ins? Yeah, we ask about walk-ins. Like if I suspect someone is a walk-in, I'll ask. So I have sessions on my YouTube channel. If you listen to the full session, I can't tell you which one because I don't remember, where at least one or two out there where they were walk-ins. And I've got a number of TikTok videos talking about walk-ins where my client was a walk-in. My higher self probably wants to smack me, said just for kicks. Yeah, I think a lot of our higher selves want to smack us for sure. Let me see. Okay, so I think I'm going to end it here, guys, because I've been on here long enough. But again, if you are interested, if you think it's part of your passion, your purpose, and you want to find out more about having me train you with thank you, Husky Kimberly, for the rose. Have me train you for doing this kind of hypnosis, past life, life in between life, and higher self, and every single thing I know about it, including the business side. Oh, thank you, Jackie, for the roses. Check out my website, wokelightworker.com. Click on the training and courses tab. If you want to take my higher self course, Connecting with Your Higher Self, starting February 7, it was postponed to February, guys. February 7 for 4 weeks. That is wokelightworker.com under courses. Starting I think the third week in February, I'm going to start teaching theta healing. Oh my gosh, guys, wait till I get on here and talk about theta healing. I love, 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 love theta healing. Theta healing is amazing. So I'm going to start with the first 3 level classes. Transform and change your life, like forever. It will change you. You'll get like 2 years worth of healing in the first 3 courses, and it's 3, 6, 8 days total. That's it. 2 3-day weekends and then a 2-day weekend where you do the courses. Change your life. I did the first 3 courses and I felt like I got as much healing in those 8 days that probably literally would have taken me 2 years on my own to heal. Like it was unbelievable, phenomenal healing. So I will be talking more about that because I'm going to be teaching that starting in February, probably around the 3rd week in February. And then you can watch my videos on YouTube under Woke Lightworker and on Patreon under Woke Lightworker. And then I think I already said my higher self class is coming up February 7th. So I don't want to repeat myself again. But anyway, I can't wait for your higher self class, said Pyra. Yay! Yeah, I haven't seen you since my spiritual awakening class, or maybe my narcissism class. If you guys want to look at any of my other classes, I put on a really, really good 4-week spiritual awakening boot camp. If you're newer to spirituality or you want to learn more, I packed so much into that class, and it's available on demand now on my website, wokelightworker.com, with everything I wish I would have known when I first woke up spiritually and more. So definitely check that out. It is really good. If you want to learn about narcissists, how to protect your energy from them, how to deal with one, how to co-parent with one, are narcissists all humans? Anything like that, I have a narcissist and gaslighting class on my website, wokelightworker.com. And then I have a class called Create a Life You Want to Live. Guys, it's only $11. And it is a 2-hour class that it was really good on how to consciously create a life you want to live instead of letting life just happen and living as your lower self, but actually stepping into being more of your higher self and taking conscious control of your life to create a life that you want to live. And that's on my website, again, wokelightworker.com for $11 whole. So I made that one really inexpensive for everybody. So I want to thank everyone for being here tonight. I'm so glad I could come here and share more about my sessions and answer your questions. And I guess I will see you guys all next time. If you're interested in a higher self and past life hypnosis session, you can visit my website, wokelightworker.com. Until next time, I will see you all later.